Okay, what we'd like to do is just take a look at this y equal x squared, and it has this basic U shape. And so if we take any points like 0, 0, right? If x is 0 and we square it, we get 0. If we come over here, somewhere right in there, very close, there we go, 1, 1. If I put in 1 and I square it, I get 1. And we come up this way until we get up here to 2. And if I put in 2 for x and square it, 2 squared is 4. And so we see we get 4. Similarly, if we come over this side, try to get here right at -1. There we go. And if I put in x equals -1 and square it, I get out 1. So -1 squared is 1. Get up here to -2 and we should get 4. Yep, see, -2 and 4, because if I square -2, -2 times -2 is 4. So there we go, and of course we could zoom out and see our other numbers along the way, but we get this nice parabola shape. And so this is y equal x squared, but we don't always want the vertex right here at 0, 0. So what we want to do is look at how to move this curve around. And what we can do is toss in an a in here inside the squaring part. Right, so I could come up here and put some parentheses around the x. And so what I want to do is do the same thing. We'll leave that one there, but I'll do a new one, y equals x, and I'll say minus, I'm going to use a b because of what we'll do later, minus b squared. And it says add a slider, so I'll click on that. And notice it says b equals 1 here, and we're at 1. And if I slide this to b equals 0, we're right back where we started from. If b is a negative number, we start sliding to the left. Okay, and if I zoom out a little bit, we can see how this, well, let me move here. There we go. As I move this out to -10, right, we just slide there between 10 and -10. Okay, and I can slide it more if I want, just by changing these things, but we'll leave them the way they were, -10 and 10, and just kind of move that around to see that we can do that. Okay, so if I want to take this basic shape and move it anywhere side to side, that's all I have to do is put in minus and then how much I want to move it side to side. And if I want to move it to the right, b will be positive. If I want to move it to the left, b will be negative. And so this is a nice little feature on here. Now, what if I need to move it up or down? Well, let's put b back to 0, so it's right on top of there. Now let's add outside of the squaring a c, and notice it's c equal 1. I went up by 1, and we can go all the way up to 10. We can make it bigger if I just make that bound bigger, and we can go all the way down to -10. And so that is how we can move this thing up and down. is just by putting that plus C there, and then if C is positive, it goes up. If C is negative, it goes down. Okay, so it's interesting that inside the parentheses of the square, we need to put a minus in front of our number to have positive be right and negative be left. But outside here with the C, we have a plus, and again, if C is positive, that's up, which we would tend to think would be the right thing, and if C is negative, it goes down, which we would probably tend to think is the right thing. Okay, so we can move it up or down. So suppose I wanted this vertex to be at oh, I don't know, maybe this would be what, 5,2 at the point 5,2. Well, then all I have to do is move B to 5, and there we go. B is at 5 and C is at 2, and there I've moved it to 5,2. So I can move it anywhere I want. And then the other thing we might need to do is make that shape, I'll put it back at 0 and 0 here. We might need to make that shape either skinnier or narrower. So to do that, I'm going to multiply by a number and add that slider. And now notice that A starts out at 1. If A is 1, I get that same exact shape again. But if A is bigger than 1, it makes it skinnier. Now, that might seem a little backwards, but what's going on is for the same X value, I get a much bigger Y value because I multiplied everything here. And so you see by making the Y value for a given X, if I'm right here, you know, for that given X, to make the Y value bigger, oh, I would have to be up here, and so it looks like we've made it skinnier. Okay, and if I come down here between 0 and 1, it makes it wider. And again, the idea is, well, if I take 1/10 of the value, so I started out at this, you know, somewhere around 5 there for negative 2.24, and if I come down here somewhere around negative 2.24, I'm at 0.5 or 1/10 the value. So that's what made it wider looking. The Y, for the same X, the Y value is much lower because we're multiplying it by something very small. But that's, you know, what happens. If I make A 0, if I can, we just get this straight line, because right now we would have, if A was 0, it just says Y equals C, and C happens to be 0. And then if I make A negative, it turns it upside down. So if I needed this thing to go upside down, all I would need to do is make that a negative of some kind. Okay, so if I wanted to make it a little wider, maybe like that, so it's a little bit wider, but I also needed to move the vertex, say, to -2 and 3 for a Y value. So -2 to the side, so I go there to -2, and C equal 3 to move it up, and I went a little past there. Not very good at this, I guess. There we go. I could have always just typed it in here, you know, like if I wanted, oh, I said, oh, 3, I said I wanted 4, just type a 4 and it'll get there. Put it back at 3, so I don't have to try to be coordinated with the mouse, but it's kind of nice to see how things move that way. So there I've made it a little wider, and I've moved the vertex up here, and so that's how we can move a y equal x squared, the basic curve of y equal x squared. We can transform it so that we can put that vertex, the point, anywhere we want. That was easy enough with those two numbers, and then we can make it as skinny or wide as we want with this a here, and we can turn it upside down also with the a simply by making it negative. Okay, so there's a little bit on working with y equal x squared and transforming it into slightly different shapes of itself.